This is INCRadio BCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesia ni Cristo.
Hello.
Hola!
Bonjour.
Konnichiwa.
Ni hao. Ciao.
안녕하세요. Mabuhay!
Welcome to Washington State.
Explore the sights. Discover new things.
Appreciate the arts, music, and food.
Travel to new places.
Meet the people.
Make new friends.
In other words, come home with us.
Come home with us.
This is INCRadio Seattle, Washington.
Alrighty, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from all of our listeners and viewers all around the world. As you can see today, we are trying not to laugh a little too hard, but we are live here in our local of Shoreline. So today we are doing our topic for our musical EVM, talking about our experience with that. And everyone here actually, including some of our other viewers, live audience here. We're also a part of our musical EVM. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and introduce kind of our guests here, starting from my left. So for those who don't know, we have Sister Tia. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
I am Sister Tia Manalo. That's like my first time introducing myself.
That's my sister.
I'm from the local of Everett. So shout out to the local of Everett, all those that are tuning in. Shout out to the musical EVM, musical evangelical mission, all those that were part of it, and that were even behind the scenes. There was a lot behind the scenes that weren't on stage. So all the stagehands, thank you, and shout out to all of you all.
All right. Now next we have Brother Terrell.
You're going to introduce yourself again. Hello everyone, I'm Brother Terrell Torres still from the local of Everett. Same shout out to the local of Everett. Also our family that are watching, and my home local from the local of Oak Harbor too.
All right, and now last but definitely not least, we have Brother Stephen. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, folks. I'm Brother Stephen Anthony. I'm from the local of Linwood, which also has our worship services here at the Shoreline Chapel. So kind of my home building here. And shout out to all of those in the District of Washington State, all of our ministers, all of those that are helping us to stay in unity with the church administration.
All right, there we go. So before we continue with our discussion, we're going to go ahead and ask our YouTube question of the day, and that is, what was your favorite part of the musical evangelical mission? So for those who were able to watch it live, what was your favorite part of the musical evangelical mission? We'll go ahead and read a few of those comments as we go throughout our discussion. So let's go ahead and start with Brother Terrell.
Yes.
Here we go. So what was your role in, roles in the musical EVM?
There was only a few. I helped with some of the recording, choir, some of the vocalist parts, the dancing, an acting part, and a singing part.
A couple acting parts, a few singing parts. So Brother Terrell was part of, I think, almost every scene.
Almost.
Not every scene.
That's why I said close.
I needed time to have wardrobe changes.
Yes.
It's the only reason why he wasn't in it.
If you could have, you would have.
And how about you, Sister Tia? So what was your role?
The main, I guess I wasn't mainly, I was primarily an extra in some of the scenes. And if you see some of the pictures, I think some of the pictures, I was also part of the recording choir and also the choir that performed on stage for the musical numbers. Yeah, I don't have nearly as much as Brother Terrell. Like I said, I was an extra in some of the scenes. But...
I was only supposed to be extra at the very beginning. I was going to be a recording choir and extra for the whole entire thing. But they found a role for me in each one.
He got a lot of roles. And then also, if you're tuning in on the YouTube channel and seeing the pictures, there's a lot of Sister Ria Cabardo. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here today, but she did an amazing job as well. So shout out to Sister Ria as well.
Shout out to Sister Ria. Get well soon.
Yes, feel better soon.
Yes, feel better soon. And now, Brother Stephen. So, what was your role in our musical evangelical mission?
My role was as one of the storytellers, actually. We had believe, trust, and rely on. And you already mentioned Sister Rita. She was trust. So she had the middle third of the show to focus on her part of her story. Brother Frank Busby, who can't be here, he also was a third. He was rely on. Maybe he's still recovering from the breakdancing because the man is in his 40s and he's breakdancing. It was incredible. My part was belief. So we had believe, trust, and rely on. And I was so humbled to be part of the entire process, to be invited to be part of this. It actually came as a result of our efforts in Faith Speaks. And so my role was to generate something that was believed out of my story, and without all of the help that we received from Sister Marty Gonzalez, Joe, and everybody else, this wouldn't have happened. So it was actually where they took my biography and then took a piece and let's make a dramatic presentation of how I became a member of the church. And it was fundamental to the core. It felt wonderful to be part of it.
There you go.
And then also for the ones that don't know, Brother Josh was actually a part of it.
Yes,
he was the narrator.
Yes, narrated the MC. He was Josh.
For those that tune in regularly to INCRadio Seattle, I'm sure you recognize the voice because he has a very good speaking narrator voice.
So I know it was definitely a very beautiful experience all throughout. Each act was amazing. And I know, some of us have prior experience with doing these kind of musicals. I know Brother Terrell just came off of doing another activity previously. It was not necessarily a musical, but it was musically involved. So in concert. So aside from that, have you ever been a part of any kind of musical production or anything like that before?
Me again?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Our last musical EBM in 2019. Yes. You're invited from 2019. I was part of that one. Same thing, recording choir. A lot more. More of the recording choir. No.
I remember that. That is the one where I stepped in.
Too early, yeah. Wait. No, me and Trey stepped in too early.
I don't know what you're talking
You might have stepped in really. Oh, you stepped in for a role. I stepped in early.
I read.
He's just trying to finish my sentences. We're not that close, bro. No, but I remember I stepped in for one of the roles. One of the actresses that was supposed to be on stage, she had to leave, unfortunately, the week before. So I stepped in and shout out to Sister Gianna. She was my partner, and we basically behind the scenes. We were, what's it called? Babysitting. We were babysitting all the kids that we had to, the scene that we were part of. Yeah. Anyway, so that was the past musical evangelical mission, which was, back in 2019. That was five 5 whole years ago.
About me six.
And you know what's funny about that?
Anyway.
You know what's funny about that? All 4 of us were also a part of that
Right.
one as well.
And interesting.
Oh, that's right.
I played Brother Henry, who was the minister, which was tremendously intimidating to try to play that role. But 2 musicals, 2 non-singing roles.
But yeah, I think this one had, I mean, you know, every musical has such beautiful music. This one,
Like run it with my voice. That's what I'm saying.
No, yeah, it was fun, especially recording choir. Yeah, I think we were all recording choir for both musicals, and it was nice that this one, you know, even those that weren't able to be there physically, they were still
Their voices were heard.
Their voices were heard. That's a good way of putting it. Yes.
So I know that we all kind of, at this point, I guess you could say seasoned veterans for this. Probably not really, but so Brother Stephen, I'll ask you first. So how were you able to like prepare, especially for this musical EVM, especially since it is, you know, your story? How are you able to like prepare, like physically, mentally, emotionally? And what was kind of your process for preparing for that?
It's a good question. Physically, it was just making the time available. We had 5 weeks before the showtime. It looked very different than what it was come the night of the show. There was a lot of work that was put in by, I think, 60, 70 people in total that were part of this production. And honestly, praying to God was the biggest bit of preparation that I could do, because I felt the least prepared for anything I've ever been in my life. And I have to say, it turned out about the best of anything that I've ever been part of in my life. So I prepared for an amazing experience, and it happened. So the prayer was probably the most important thing to do, preparation for it. Physical part was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Yes.
Tell you what, we got into such a rhythm that after the show was over,
The kids were still doing the dances.
well, I was still doing my lines, and everything's, what do I do on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday now? Need to do something else. It quickly became a part of my life, so it's completely rewarding.
I know it kind of had like a comfortable rhythm to it for all of our schedules to be like super busy, and all of a sudden we all kind of come together and almost relax, but also stress at the same time doing this stress. Yeah, good stress. You know, we're working hard, but not as hard as working hard as, you know, Brother Terrell here. How did you prepare? Because I know, you know, you were all over the place. You were acting, you know, you were also dancing, and you sang as well. So what was kind of like your preparation?
Reading medical journals.
Yes, I went to Harvard. No, that's a. I just followed what they told me to do. That was pretty much my, like, especially with acting. I've never really acted, and they were. I asked this. That was part of acting in Sister Ria's act, and I usually make jokes a lot, or, you know, I'm pretty upbeat, but the role I played was pretty serious and kind of had to have a different tone than I'm used to. So I really focused and concentrated on what I was saying, memorized what I wanted to say, and then also have a delivery that was also that could make the story, you know, push the story and add to it. It was very mental, like I had to keep myself focused in those things. Physically, I started when I was doing the dancing. That was hard because I don't normally dance. I'm not much of a dancer at all. Not much of a dancer. I just, like I said, I followed whatever they had to say about, you know, any remarks they had to say about it. Singing was probably one of the most difficult ones because I lost my voice like a few weeks prior, and we were still recording some of the songs leading up to the actual performance, and I was having a hard time singing, and so I was drinking a lot of tea, a lot of things to just kind of help my voice not sound too bad in the recordings. So it was all around just kind of just being focused and following whatever advice that the leads had to say and the ones that involved were. Yeah.
And how about you, Sister Tia, for your preparation? I know, the previous experience with some other, our previous musical, but I know it's been so long in between that it's kind of like shifting gears really hard here. So like, what was your preparation like being an extra 4 hour for the musical evening?
I mean, a lot of it was the same, a lot of prayer, a lot of just listening to what the direction that especially Sister Marnie or Brother Joe gave, or any of like
The assistant directors.
yeah, the assistant directors. Yeah, there was a lot of changes, in the short amount of time that we did prepare. There was a lot of changes even, like the week before. So a lot of it is just listening, and making sure that you remember your mark, remember I didn't have any lines this time, but yeah, just remembering where you're supposed to be when and everything like that.
Oh, that was hard I had different clothes on each side. They had a whole rack for clothes for people that for faster wardrobe changes, and I was running. It was also I was sweating a lot, and my makeup, my stage. So we had to wear stage makeup, which is
He looked very
probably the most challenging part about. I was sweating by the first run through with the actual wardrobe. I was drenched, and I was like, hey, we did it a few more times, and then we come the actual performance. I was cool like a cucumber.
You're cool like
Like an onion.
wait.
Scary.
So I know Brother Terrell already mentioned that was kind of like one of the more challenging parts. But what would you say is kind of like your favorite or like the best part to you in your experience, Brother Terrell?
My experience.
Yeah. For the whole EVM, musical EVM.
I think the ending was really that like the final song, the final performance that we had all together, everyone on stage. I think that was a really good feeling of all our hard work coming together, and we were able to perform that last song together. Even the directors, assistant directors, you were on stage, the narrator, some of the backstage crew, they were throwing balloons around for us. But that song, I mean, all the music, of course, produced by the church is very spiritual, but it really felt like those songs were meant for your stories. The stories in each act was like those songs were meant for each of those stories, and that final song, the hope for us to, hope for something greater, and we were able to accomplish something that gives us hope for the future, for our future activities, for the future of the church and everything like that, with the next coming generation of members. It was very the CWS kids at the end coming in. That was also it was just all around this a really spiritual, wholesome experience in that towards the end.
What about you, Brother Stephen? Like, what was, in your opinion, what was your favorite part of the musical?
Oh boy, that's not fair. Fair. The kids were spectacular. The CWS children were just so wonderful. I mean, how we'd worked really hard to try to do something, and right before we were set to do it, we'd had our last run through. Sister Marnie pulled us all together. The moment she started speaking, she gave us a motivational speech that Vince Lombardi would have been blown away by. It was. What's that?
Oh yeah, sports term.
The Super Bowl trophy is named after Vince Lombardi. So he was a pretty good motivational speaker back in the 60s. So I'm giving Sister Marty the highest of praises from the general world of where I came from. And from the moment she started speaking till the curtain was a dream come true. That wasn't because of us, but it was because of God. Because I mean, we were nowhere near ready for that performance. And then that performance came out of everybody. I haven't seen the final product. I don't know if I need to. I lived it. There was one.
And
That was too beautiful for me to follow up after what
I could change it back just a second. Like, how was it? Like, what was the challenging part for you then?
the challenging.
Yeah, the most challenging.
Maybe
part.
the cop.
So, on the actual day of, because like I said, I was an extra in a lot of scenes, and there was one scene in particular. I think Brother Terrell was, no, you were part of it. Sister Kyla Garcia and Brother Lawrence Manalo were part of this scene.
Who's that? Your husband?
My husband, yes.
That's who you just
Going from one scene directly to another scene, and
Oh, your jacket.
my wardrobe changed. So we had practiced a million times. We practiced so many times beforehand. I never had like that much of an issue. But come the actual performance, I had to put my jacket on for my wardrobe change, and the lights, because it went dark, for the scene change. And then as soon as the lights came back up, my arm was still like I had my jacket here. It was kind of.
I remember seeing it from the side.
It's like this. I wasn't able to put my arm in all the way, and it was so embarrassing. But I played it off enough that people in the very back, the audience, wouldn't be able to have my hope. So the day of, that was, I think, the most challenging.
It was. It really was.
Oh no, this is never, in all the rehearsals, I didn't have an issue. It was just that one scene. I think, mentally preparing, could be a little challenging, especially like what Brother Stephen said earlier. Rehearsals were Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and we were in practice for hours every day. So that, was a little challenging mentally and physically. But of course, like with what they all said, it's very rewarding. Being able to reach the day of the final show, the final performance, it was all worth it. And it was amazing to see what God was able to produce through us as his instruments.
Beautifully said. All right. We're going to go on to our next segment, which is our CFO in action. But before that, we're going to go ahead and read a few of our YouTube comments. We have from Brother Lawrence Manalo. Hello, Dr. Lee here from the musical, aka Brother Lawrence Manalo. My favorite part of the musical was definitely the rehearsals. The good food provided by Ka Hazel, Ka June, and Ka Marnie.
You're right. That was a good one, Lawrence. Oh, man.
Never forget about that. Please. Shout out to my mom, Sister Hazel, Ka June, and Ka Marnie, not only for the guidance from Ka June, Ka Marnie, and Ka Jo, but also for providing a lot of the food that we had for every single practice. We have another response from another one of our crew here, Brother Andrew Santa Monica, who's also here. There we go. There we go. Come on up. Go ahead and sit right here, right next to me. You can go ahead. Read yours a little bit.
My favorite part was all of Act 2. That really stood out. Those were, they were even hiding behind their kind of wet their tears. But it really makes you think about life itself and trusting in God, because it was all an act of trust in what God can do for us.
Definitely. And we have another comment from someone else who is also here, from Brother Kafel Flota. I love all three acts in the musical EVM, #Everett. Oh, we're not done with our responses, actually. Also, we have from Sister Blessing, who's also in the audience today. My favorite parts were when the emotions caught people off guard. It was heartwarming to see them relate and be engaged in the stories and biographies. And another response from Sister Riza Gilmore, hashtag hashtag Everett. We are very proud of the brethren who put in their hard work and dedication and their time. Dedicated their time into, there we go. Sorry, I just lost the comment. And to the parents who brought their families to each rehearsal. Here we go. Shout out to all of our, the parents for all of our children there that were also a part of the musical EVM. And last but not least, from Sister Raquel, appreciate all of our fellow brothers and sisters for their time and effort into preparing for the musical EVM. It was absolutely amazing and a wonderful experience to be a part of. So there we go. Those are a few of our comments there from our YouTube. So now we will be going on to our CFO in action with Brother Jerome.
Thank you, Brother Josh. So for our past activities from our CFO in the District of Washington State, December 22nd, Shoreline and Marysville held their year-end celebration, as well as Tacoma on December 27th, which was, yesterday. Some future activities that we will be having, a lot of year-end celebrations and New Year's celebrations. On December 28th, which is actually today, Everett will be holding our year-end celebration at 5 p.m. in the function hall. For anyone that would like to join, you are welcome and invited. You'll probably hear some performances from the musical EVM. Hint, hint. December 29th, which is tomorrow, Burien will have their year-end celebration. And then on January 5th, we have our all CFO officers seminar. So for those activities, if you have any questions, you can let your local CFO officers know, or if you have my contact, you can always let me know. All right, brother, back to you, Brother Josh.
All right, there we go. So we are coming to a close for our broadcast today. But before we go, we have a reminder for our ways to tune in, as well as a quick cliffhanger kind of question or statement. So we're going to go ahead with that. For our YouTube viewers, what are you looking forward to in the new year? One more time, what are you looking forward to in the new year? So there we go. We'll go ahead, just as a reminder for our ways to tune in. Of course, we have here on our YouTube channel, which is the INCRadio DZEM 954. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and don't forget to click the little bell icon that appears afterwards to stay up to date for all of our broadcasts, not only here in Seattle, but through our other satellites. Aside from YouTube, we also have the INCRadio.org. And with that, go all ahead and we're going to give our special thank yous and shout outs, of course, to Brother Eduardo Manalo, our executive minister, Brother Angelo Manalo, our SEPSI president and CFO coordinator, Brother Ramil Regino, our district minister, Brother Relly Rivera, our assistant district minister, Brother Chris Valdez, our CFO overseer, Brother Manley Andaya, our executive producer, and last, the listeners, and last but definitely not the least, we have our INC Radio tech crew. So from INC Radio Seattle, we will see you later.
Next year.
Next year.